Good evening, everybody. It's Friday evening in the DP household, and we're in a sort of packing scenario here because, as some of you may be aware, it's our 30th wedding anniversary this year, and so Julia and I, although we're not actually, the official date is not until December, we're going to head off to Iceland for 10 days to go on a tour with 10 other people in a little mini bus around the whole thing, geology, night sky, hopefully the northern lights, probably quite a lot of rain. So it's one of those things where you're trying to pack. What the heck do you include? Well, yes, you include the guidebook, obviously, and you include lots of socks, and also, of course, things that you're never going to use, like a pair of sunglasses. And you always overpack, don't you? But there are some key things which you absolutely have to have in your knapsack, so to speak. And those are things like your wash bag, your sort of key things like that. And a bit of a tenuous link, but I was thinking about what are the things that we need to have in our rucksack or with us each day as we tackle some of the really challenging situations that I know some of you have got and have got coming up in these next 2 weeks. And one of the things that you remember I talked a few weeks ago about actually is that guy who said stories are like the energy for the battleship to keep going. And just a couple of really nice stories this week. So Charlie was telling me we were going through a report back for one of the funding bids, and she was just listing off, Stuart 1 year without alcohol, Ash also 1 year, Claire 10 weeks, Liam 4 months, Andy 2 months, just a whole series of people who are coming along to the Arch program during the week, the recovery program, and are just being helped to stay free from their addictions. Fantastic. We met a guy, another possible funder came to the workshop, and Leo was doing a lovely job at introducing all that was going on there. And he got one of the guys there, I think he's called Tom, came along, just young guy, just explaining, been there a couple of months in my courthouse, but coming along to the workshop to really gain some confidence and some stability in his life. And he just talked so gently and beautifully about the support he was getting from the team, but also the things he was learning, but also the support he was getting from the Christian community around him. Just lovely. And the folk who were coming from the funding organisation came away, they're just wowed by this guy. So hopefully that will turn into something. But I'm also reminded that because of the work you've done, it builds reputation, which is another thing that encourages us. So it was lovely to hear that, although it's sad that the Oaks Counselling service is coming to an end, that they wanted to give some of the money that's left to the CMA work because of the connection that's been so strong between CMA and Oaks. So stories are one of the things that keep in your rucksack, just to keep that memory. I think some of you, maybe me, I'm the only one, but I like some numbers just to remind me of the things that we're doing and the impact that it's having. And I'll send you over in the email version some of the numbers from the last quarter, January to March, just as a little reminder. It's just, the scale is extraordinary. The food bank use across all our food banks, 12% up on the previous quarter, which included Christmas, and 43% up on last year from the same time last year, just showing the incredible amount of work that you're coping with. And of course, all the other added stuff that's going on around the food banks in terms of the plus bit on the end. And the CMA team have saved over the last year £364,000 worth of debt. They've reduced that just by the people they're working with. That's a huge amount. We've seen 50 cases that Claire has been able to refer onto St Mungo's, the homeless team, over the last quarter, which are people getting off the street and getting into accommodation. There's been 23 little victory examples from the Arch team of people who are getting sorted out in terms of their health or their community stuff, or learning in terms of going on courses or things like that. We've had the first Mother's Day event that I can remember for Smile, seeing kids being able to give their mums a special present that they had decorated. We've seen a 6% increase in volunteers. We've seen a 20% increase in regular donors, a 5% increase in social media followers. So we've got stories, we've got encouragements from numbers like that. And then my wife shared a quote from a guy who leads a church in the middle of Ukraine. He leads one of the key denominations there. He said to her, "Your prayers and personal encouragement are the emotional fuel that keeps us going." So one of the other things maybe to have in your rucksack is that personal encouragement from each other. Thank you for those of you who already do that. Maybe you could take a moment this week just to send a little text of encouragement to one of the other team members to keep them going and be part of what they have in their rucksack during the week. And well, I think that actually some really helpful stuff that Jesus says, which is also part of what we have in our equipment. And one of the things he says after Easter to the disciples is almost the last words in one of the Gospels: I am with you always to the very end of time. So I'm not going to be with you for the next couple of weeks, but go well, enjoy what you do, be well, and thank you so much for putting all that stuff in your rucksack so that each day you can keep going to support people who really need you. Take care, everybody.